Welcome back, all. We got some very exciting news. Bears have hired their head coach of the future, and it is Ben Johnson, the top candidate of the cycle. Adam Schefter reported it. Bears have him at House Hall today. Very exciting. This is the candidate, the top dog everyone's been talking about. The Lions OC from 2022 to 2024. He's fifth in points per game in both 2022 and 2023. First last year. He had six 40-point games in 2024. Bears had zero. They had two in the last 5 years. They had seven in the last 12 years. You have to go back to 2013 before we surpass his number for this year. For 30-point games, he had 11. Bears had two last season. Bears have nine in their last 5 seasons. Bears have reached neither of those marks in a single season. But Ben Johnson, top dog. Bears finally got out of the way. His rumored contract is about $13 to $15 million a year for 6 years. Big money. This is something the McCaskies have not typically done with their head coaches, going after the top guy. Does this mark a change in Chicago? We'll see. And we also got some potential assistants that have been rumored. Number one is Dennis Allen as DC. Adam Schefter reported that he was the leading candidate. And while some might be weary because of his two failed head coaching stints, I still think this is a great move. He was the Broncos DC, then the Raiders head coach, then had a very long tenure with the Saints as a DC before becoming their head coach when Sean Payton left, before being fired mid-season. He's top 12 EPA defense every single year from 2016 to 2023. I'm leaving out 2024 because he was fired mid-season. Defense kind of fell off a cliff after that. And he had a top 3 defense in total EPA from 2018 to 2023. So he's a very great defensive play caller, one of the best in the league. He's not a good head coach. Honestly, reminds you of Flus, though I think he's a little more creative than Flus and a little better. He could bring, even though it's failed experience, he brings head coach experience to the staff to help Ben Johnson. And it's very unlikely he gets poached. If he works out and Ben Johnson works out, you have your two play callers for a long time, because very rarely do defensive play callers get a second chance at being a head coach, let alone a third. So he's likely, wherever he lands as a DC is likely his last place he's going to be. Next is Darren Rizzi as special teams coach. He was alongside Dennis Allen, Saints special team coach, their assistant head coach, and became the interim after Dennis Allen was fired. He's very highly regarded in the league. He has head coach interviews. He probably will not get hired, but it's us with the Denver Broncos that seem to be the two leading candidates. He worked with Sean Payton, obviously. We'll see. Another option is Richard Hightower could potentially stay. He did a good job last year. He seems to be maybe the only one retained. And then next we have Hank Fraley, which seems a little more outside chance. He's the Lions O-line coach for the last 4 years. He had his second interview with Seattle and could be promoted within the Lions. So I would imagine if he has Seattle and Chicago, he'd pick Seattle. But we'll see. Ben Johnson worked closely with him. And I love this quote from Frank Ragnow. "You refuse to let Hank leave. I haven't played in this league without Hank, and I don't plan on doing it. I'll sabotage him. I'll leak stories and whatever it takes." Is this a sign that if you get Hank Fraley, maybe you could swing a Detroit tackle or two over? Ragnow is not a free agent, but there are two Detroit linemen that are free agents. Can you convince one of them to come? Who knows? But he's definitely highly regarded by players. And when you compare him to, say, Chris Morgan, who's been our offensive line coach, big difference. And I want to throw out one more thing. Thomas Brown. The Bears have not said whether or not they'll retain him. It's likely Ben Johnson's decision. I don't see him being an OC. I think, if anything, he'd be a passing game coordinator. Will he take that? Will he try to go somewhere else? We'll see. But Ben Johnson may or may not be on the staff. Players know him. Could be familiarity. We'll see. And I have more stuff coming soon. We're going to finish out our season reviews with Caleb Williams, the skill players, look at PFF grades and game by game. We're going to do the 2022 draft grades, Ryan Poles' first draft as general manager, because the rule is 3 years when you evaluate talent. We're going to do free agent targets and roster breakdown, as well as draft prospects in the mock draft, and then we're going to have Chicago Cubs content as that season starts ramping up. So, see you all. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe.